Cancer, welcome to your monthly horoscope for April 2026. My name's Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. Cancer, April is a major career and life direction month for you. There is a very strong focus on your 10th house, your 11th house, and your ninth house, which means that we are talking about your career, your reputation, your public life, and your future goals. This is a month where you may be making big decisions about your future, and you may start to see movement or change in your career, your goals, and the direction your life is going in. So let's get into it. But before we do, make sure you like and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. Now, let's get into it. I do break the monthly horoscopes down by week, and I select a chart for each week to give you a visual. So, as soon as we come into the month on the 1st, we have the full moon in Libra, and this is lighting up your fourth house, which rules your home, your family, your living situation, emotional foundation, your private life. And full moons bring a culmination. This is a culmination period, completions, or major realizations. And this can look like moving or changing your home, family conversations, emotional realizations. This could be leaving a place of living or renovating your home, literally, changing your living situation in some way. There can be something shifting in your personal life. And because Libra rules balance, this full moon is highlighting home versus career. It's in that fourth and 10th house axis, the 10th house being your house of career, your public reputation. And so at this time, you may be realizing that something in your home needs to change, or something about your home life needs to change so that you can grow into your career, or something in your career needs to change so that you can be happier in your personal life. And so at this time, you may need to make changes in your home or changes with your home environment. Maybe you need to have some really important conversations with family members or create better work life balance. This can also be releasing emotional baggage from your past, from your childhood. There can also be more focus on emotional stability and security. This full moon is resetting your foundation so that you can move forward. If you want to take a deeper dive into this full moon energy, I do have a separate forecast on my YouTube channel, and you can check that out. I go into the chart for the full moon, and I also get into all 12 rising signs. Now, on April 3rd, we have Mercury trine Jupiter, and this is the final trine between Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury first formed a trine to Jupiter back in February, and this is the third trine. There was a trine during the pre shadow phase, then there was a trine during the retrograde phase, and now there's a trine during the post shadow phase. So you've been sitting with something for about 2 months, and this is when you finally make a decision, or when there's finally clarity, there's finally an understanding. And this can have to do with travel or teaching, publishing those ninth house themes and topics, social media, speaking, writing, learning, maybe expanding your audience in some way. Especially too, because Jupiter is in your first house, this can have to do with personal growth or a personal life decision. So if you've been sitting with something for, a couple of months, now is when you finally gain clarity and you finally make your decision, or you finally know which direction you want to move in. Now, also on April 3rd, we have Venus square Pluto. And this is happening between your 11th house and your 8th house. So you have Pluto here in your 8th house, and you have Venus here in Taurus in your 11th house. And this can bring friendship drama, power struggles with friends, or social circles that you're connected to. This can bring financial tension involving shared money, jealousy, control issues, relationship intensity. This can also bring emotional triggers. This transit is transforming your relationships and your social circles. So you want to avoid power struggles at this time. Make sure you're setting your boundaries. Be careful who you trust. Be mindful of shared finances. And some relationships may transform or end at this time. This may be when you realize that there's some friendships that have been untruthful or bringing you down, dragging you down in some way. Then once we get to April 5th, we have the sun square Jupiter. And this is in your 10th house and your first house. So, your 10th house of career, your public reputation, and your first house of you, identity. And so, this can have to do with career opportunities, taking on too much responsibility. It's a square. So, we want to remember that this is doing too much, but it's the sun in the 10th house. So it's like overwhelming yourself, committing yourself to too much responsibilities, too many tasks, and then becoming overwhelmed. When we have squares to Jupiter, we tend to get ourselves in way over our head. So this is definitely a day to be a bit cautious of. Make sure that you're not over committing to anything. This is a day too where you may need to balance career and personal life. And then on April 6th, we have Venus sextile the North Node and trine the South Node. Venus is in your 11th house, and you have the South Node here in your third house and the North Node in your ninth house. This is a very faded karmic energy whenever we're talking about the lunar nodes. Now, this can bring some faded karmic change around whatever these nodes have activated for you. The lunar nodes entered Virgo and Pisces back January of 2025. So, whatever changes have been taking place in your third house of community, neighbors, neighborhood, your self expression, siblings, cousins, like there's something from the past or something that has surfaced or something that you're moving away from when it has to do with these third house themes and topics because of the South Node. And then the North Node represents a new direction that we're moving into. So maybe you're going back to school, maybe you decided to take a different direction and learn something new, or publishing or travel. This is when there can be an opportunity coming in. Sextiles usually activate opportunities, but with sextiles, you have to take action. There's not like with trines, it's something that just kind of comes in naturally. You don't really have to do much. With sextiles, you do have to take action. So it's almost like you're moving out of something in this area. To make room for something in your ninth house. So there's a shift in your third house to go after something in the ninth, if that makes sense. Like maybe you're wanting to travel. So, a perfect example would be maybe you're single, you want to travel the world, and you're deciding to do that, but you have to sell your car first. So, you're like selling your car because the third house is vehicles so that you can travel the world. Like something along, I know that's kind of like big, extravagant, and that's obviously not going to be for everybody. But that's just an example of how this can show up. And again, it's very faded, very karmic, whatever is showing up at this time. To the second week of April. And on the 9th, we finally have Mercury leaving shadow, meaning that we're finally done with the Mercury retrograde energy we've been in since February. And this is in your ninth house. So, again, whatever you've been sitting with, and I'll keep using the same analogy. Maybe you thought about traveling or moving or traveling the world, and now it's finally starting to come together. There's clarity, there's a good understanding, you're making decisions. And also on the 9th, we have Mars entering Aries. So Mars is going to enter your 10th house of career and public reputation. Mars in the 10th house can bring career ambition, motivation, visibility, leadership. This could be you starting a business, maybe going after a promotion. This is you taking action towards success. You could also be very busy at work and in your career at this time. And you can also be very driven, very ambitious to go after what you want when it has to do with your aspirations, your goals. You could be making big career moves. This is a career building transit. And then on April 13th, we have Mars conjunct Neptune in Aries, again in your 10th house. So this is where things will get a little tricky. Neptune blurs boundaries. Neptune brings confusion. So where Mars, well, and one thing too you want to watch with Mars in the 10th house I didn't mention is there's always both sides, right? There's the positive and the negative. There's the higher expressions and the lower expressions. So yes, Mars in the 10th can bring that ambition and motivation and drive, but we also want to watch for conflict, anger, aggression, all of those Mars energies in the 10th house. Mars also severs. And so sometimes, even with Mars in the 10th house, you could be letting go of a job. where there's Mars creates separation. And so that can also be a thing too. So when Mars forms the conjunction to Neptune, things can become a little confusing. Mars is also, this can cause you feeling unsure about your future. This can create maybe even like insecurities within the work environment, not knowing exactly what the next steps are, feeling a little bit unsure about your direction. So, this would be a day to just not push anything, don't make any really big decisions. However, this energy is good for creative careers and spiritual careers. So, this would be a good energy for any creative ventures or, again, spiritual, intuitive ventures when it has to do with your career. So, again, feel it out. If this is a day and you're just feeling very unsure, don't make any big moves. Just sit with the energy. And then on the 14th, Mercury is going to enter Aries. And again, this is your 10th house. And so that's why Cancer, your career and your public image is really big for this month because there's so much energy here. So this is where you're having new conversations about your career. You're thinking about your career planning. It could be public speaking. You could be hearing big announcements or making big announcements. This could even have to do with marketing. This could have to do with public visibility. This could have to do with job interviews, business meetings. This is a great time to talk about what you want to do and put yourself out there when it has to do with your career. And then we get to the third week of April. And on the 16th, we have the sun forming a conjunction to Chiron. Again, in your 10th house. And so Chiron is the wounded healer. This can bring career insecurities, feeling exposed or feeling vulnerable within your career in some way. You could actually experience imposter syndrome, like maybe you started a new job and this applies to you. This is a thing. Chiron rules our vulnerabilities, our insecurities, and our traumas. So when the sun forms a conjunction, the sun is literally our life force energy. And when the sun forms a conjunction to Chiron, we can feel confused or something can be triggered around insecurities and vulnerabilities. And so maybe this is a day where something triggers a fear around being seen or a fear of failure. However, whenever something is triggered and activated, this is also an opportunity for healing. And so this can be when you are healing something that has to do with your vulnerabilities or imposter syndrome or some fears around being seen or fears around failure. And then we also have Mercury conjunct Neptune on this day as well. And Mercury, ruling our communication in our mind. This might be a day, again, where there's confusion, there's brain fog, there's lack of clarity. And then, so just like with the Mars conjunction to Neptune, feel it out, feel the energy out. It's a day where we just could feel off. It's a day to not make big decisions, don't make big moves, just kind of go with the flow. It's a day where we can feel or be confused about something. And then on the 17th, we have the new moon in Aries at 27 degrees. So this is a major career beginning for you. This is your career new moon. And so this is a great time to set those intentions around your career and life direction. This is a new moon. Set intentions that have to do with your job, business, career direction, public image, your reputation. You can start setting goals and intentions for where you want to be 6 months from now at the time of the full moon in Aries. And then on the 19th, we have the sun entering Taurus and Mars forming a conjunction to Saturn. And this is going to be a mixed bag. This could be very intense. This is both malefic planets in your 10th house of career. And so this can trigger change. But the sun moving into the 11th house, this is where there could be more focus on your friendships, networking, social media, your community, collaborations. And then Mars forming the conjunction of Saturn in your 10th house of career. We want to remember that Mars is anger, aggression, and conflict. Saturn is responsibility, discipline, boundaries. And so you can be taking action around responsibilities, around leadership roles. You could be really motivated at this time to create something, to build something that is very foundational, very long lasting. However, it can also have the opposite effect, right? Mars can sever, Mars can separate. And so this is where, yes, you could be making decisions for the long term, but there could also be conflict, or there could also be issues around an authority figure or a boss. And then on the 20th, Mercury is going to form a conjunction to Mars. And this is where we really do want to watch for anger, aggression, conflict, fights, arguments, impulsiveness, impatience. There is a lot of energy, though, around your career. There's a lot of decisions that you're wanting to make this month around your career. And I would say, too, if you're on social media, if you're online, just be a little bit careful with your delivery because it could be taken the wrong way. You just want to be a little bit cautious having Mars in that 10th house. Yes, you could be super motivated, but we have to look at it from all angles. And then we get to the fourth week of April, and on the 23rd, we have Venus forming a conjunction to Uranus. And this is happening in your 11th house. I know in the chart Uranus is in Gemini, but because I wanted Uranus in Gemini for this chart, but this is before Uranus makes that shift into Gemini. So Venus is forming a conjunction to Uranus here in your 11th house. This can bring unexpected opportunities, unexpected friendships coming in. This can bring network opportunities, social media growth, sudden opportunities connected to your future. So, this is a day, again, it can be a mixed bag because Uranus brings chaos and unexpected shock. And so it can be, unexpected friendships formed, or it could be something unexpected happening that's kind of a nuisance. Like Venus rules your fourth house of home, family, foundation. So there could even be something unexpected around your home at this time. And then we have Venus entering Gemini. So Venus is going to shift into your 12th house. And I have here 23rd, 24th because Venus literally moves into Gemini at midnight at my location. And so it's going to depend where you are in the world, what time Venus is entering Gemini. It'll either be really late on the 23rd or really early on the 24th. However, Venus in the 12th house, this can bring more work behind the scenes. You're doing a lot more behind the scenes. You could be healing behind the scenes. You could be, wanting to rest a little bit more with Venus in the 12th house. You could also be ending a relationship or preparing for a new cycle in some way because Venus, remember, once Venus transits that 12th house, Venus is entering the first, and this is a new Venus cycle for you in that first house. But we want to remember that 12th house is your subconscious, your dreams, endings, things, people, places that are hidden. And so with Venus in the 12th house, this is where we can see more endings or something can be ending. This is where we're doing more behind the scenes. We could be a little bit more tired at this time. Ooh, this is a good time to journal your dreams. And then on the 25th, we have Uranus entering Gemini. So Uranus is going to be entering your 12th house in here for about 8 years. Now, Uranus doesn't bring that sudden change right away. Uranus brings gradual change. Uranus is an outer planet. And so Uranus is going to transform this area of your life over the next decade. What does this look like? I mean, this is your 12th house. I will be posting a separate forecast going into the Uranus and Gemini transit and how that's affecting all 12 signs. However, Uranus in the 12th house can bring spiritual awakenings, massive healing, releasing, past traumas, ending old cycles. I mean, I will just tell you when I had Uranus in the ninth house, which is another spiritual house, that's when I had my spiritual awakening. That is when I had my first big spiritual awakening was Uranus in the ninth house. And I'm just finishing it now. Literally, as soon as Uranus went in my ninth house, I completely changed. Even my beliefs changed. What I thought the world was is completely different now with Uranus exiting my ninth house than it was with Uranus going into my ninth house. So Uranus really does enlighten and awake the areas of life that Uranus transits. And also on the 25th, we have the Sun square Pluto. So the Sun's going to be in your 11th house, squaring Pluto in your eighth house of shared resources. This could be a major realization or decision that needs to be made around your finances, shared money, debt, investments. There could be something transformed around your finances. It is a square, so it could be heavy. It could be some type of tension. There could be power and control struggles around shared finances. So yeah, I mean, it's just a day to be a little bit cautious of. Also too, because the sun rules your second house of your money, your finances, your values. So there could be some power and control dynamics around money or something transformed around money, but there's something difficult that you have to push through first. And then once we get to the 26th, we have Mercury square Jupiter. This is where we want to watch for over committing ourselves, over promising, getting in way over our head, especially when it has to do with work. This is a time where you can just feel really overwhelmed. There could be a lot. I mean, for some of you cancers, there's going to be a lot going on publicly or a lot going on within your career, and you're going to feel really overwhelmed at this time. So it's just take it easy. Just try not to overcommit this month to too much. I know that you have all this like ambition and motivation, but it could be a little bit too much. And you just don't want to get in way over your head. Also on the 26th, we have Venus sextile Neptune. So Venus in your 12th house forming a sextile to Neptune in the 10th. This can be really nice for healing, emotional release, therapy because of Venus in the 12th house. This could be really good for letting go of something. This could be really good for creative projects and transformation of some kind, spiritually and intuitively. And then on the 28th, we have Venus trine Pluto, and this is another transformational energy. Venus in your 12th house, forming a trine to Pluto in your 8th house. This can be very powerful for healing, transformation, like really being able to transmute energy on a energetic level. If that's something that aligns with you, something that you do, if you have a spiritual practice and you're really spiritual, this is a really good day to work with energy. This is a really good day to heal from all levels, release deep internal emotions, clear your energy. Yeah, this is a really nice day for that. Also, Venus rules your 11th house of friendships and social circles and networking. This is also when somebody could come into your life that ends up healing you or transforming you in some way. And then on the 29th, we have the Venus T square to the lunar nodes. And this is where you are literally at a crossroads. So Venus is in your 12th house, forming a square to the north node in your ninth and the south node in your third. So again, this could have to do with needing to make a decision on something that's been activated over the last year, having the nodes in the third and the ninth house. This could be something coming to your awareness, and you have to let go of maybe an old mindset, maybe something with that third house in order to move into the ninth house. Because Venus is in the 12th house of endings, I would say that this could be a really big release day, uh, but you're releasing and there's a breakthrough through tension. Like it's through something that could be quite challenging, if that makes sense. However, it is very faded and it's very karmic and it is showing up to push you into this new path. Cancer, this month is a turning point when it has to do with your career. This month is about success, visibility, life direction, networking, your future, and letting go of anything that is holding you back, anything that is old, anything that is no longer aligned with the future that you're moving into. You are literally stepping into a period where you are being asked to take your future seriously. This is a month to set goals around your career, put yourself out there, network, say yes to opportunities, and commit to your future. I hope this helps you navigate the energy for this month. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. Also, if you want to order or book a pre-recorded reading with me, I structure the readings just like I structure my YouTube videos, only instead of a monthly chart or a lunation chart, it's your chart, whether it's your birth chart or your lunar return chart, solar return chart. So not only is it a reading, I am demonstrating how I'm putting the pieces together. It's a learning teaching tool that you can have forever. So if you want to take a look at that or book a pre-recorded reading, I will have the information in the description below. You can also join the Cosmic Circle on Patreon. And on Patreon is where I have exclusive content. I also have bonus episodes to my podcast, which my podcast is now on YouTube, Adina's Diary. And if you are overcoming narcissistic abuse, narcissistic recovery, toxic relationships, check out that podcast. I'm telling my story. I am also creating a space for others who have gone through the same thing. And that is also what I have on my Patreon in the Cosmic Circle. And I even do talk about astrology a little bit on the podcast. I talk about the transits that I was going through when a lot of the events took place, which is really interesting. And that's the content that I will be having on my Patreon. So I'm just growing everything again because of what I went through last year, which I talk about on the podcast. And so I'm building the Cosmic Circle now. But if you want to join the community and you want to help me rebuild, come check out the Cosmic Circle. I will have exclusive tutorials on there and talking about stuff I can't really talk about on here. So make sure you check that out and don't forget to subscribe. I will have everything in the description below. And again, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I hope you have a fabulous month and I will connect with you in the next one.